So this one is going to be the blood flow through the heart. So make sure that you watch the video discussing all the structures in the heart before you watch this one because you will be confused. So we're going to discuss how the blood actually flows through the heart from beginning to end, just to make it more simple and to understand all of this. Okay. So I always like to start as far as the blood coming back to the heart from the body, and then how it goes through the heart, goes to the lungs, comes back to the heart, and then is pushed out to the rest of the body again. Okay. Um, so if you don't understand, the blood is it's in a closed system, but it's also going to be in like a figure eight loop, if that makes any sense. So we have our heart here. We're going to have blood that's going to flow back to the heart from our body. There he is. Okay. And we have blood that's going to flow to the heart, and then the heart is going to pump that blood to our lungs. Like so. Cute little lungs. Anyways, and then once that blood gets oxygenated, it's going to be pumped back to the heart, and then the heart is going to pump it back to the rest of the body. So then we have this kind of figure eight kind of loop that happens, and that just made the glare worse. Sorry, guys. Ah, there we are. Okay. So that's going to leave from our body here, come up to our heart, get pumped to our lungs. We're going to get oxygen here. We're going to leave, come back to the heart, and then the heart is going to pump it out to the rest of the body. So it is closed because it isn't going to be going anywhere besides those locations. But like I said, it's kind of a two-part system. Okay, so we're going to have what we're going to call our systemic system, which is going to go to our body, and then we have our pulmonary circulation up here that's going to go to our lungs. Okay, so we do have two parts of it. Now, if you talk about other animals, you have animals that have 3 chambers, you have animals that only have 2 chambers. We have 4, so it just kind of depends how the blood circulates from lungs to the rest of the body, to the heart, and all those good things. Okay. So again, please review the structures of the heart before you get to this one, because you're not going to know what's going on, because I'm not going to kind of go back and go over that. Okay. So we are going to have blood that's going to be entering in from these top. We've got our blood vessel here. We've got our blood vessel down here. And we learned from structures that this was the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Okay. We are drawing in blue because this is going to let us know that the blood is not oxygenated at this point. So we are waiting to pick up oxygen, then we'll turn red. Okay. So the superior vena cava is going to kind of dump its blood into the right atrium here, right about there. This one is going to go kind of back behind the heart and dump blood here. And so now all the blood from the entire body is being dumped into the right atrium. Obviously, it's not all at once because that would be a little overwhelming for Mr. Hart. So it is a little bit of it at a time, but all of that blood is going to go through this part of the heart. Okay. So when we're coming from the superior vena cava, that's going to be from your head and from your arms, whereas the inferior vena cava is going to be from your abdomen and your legs. Okay. So all that blood is coming into here. So like I said, if you describe the heart like a house and your chambers as a room, then these guys are doors. Okay. So the only way for us to leave this room to go to another one is to go through this door right here. And we discussed that this was the tricuspid valve. Okay. So that blood is going to go into the right atrium, and it's going to flow through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle down here. Okay. Now we did have a valve that was here, and he was located over here. So now we're about to pump and leave this room. Okay. So again, like I said, atrium are the receiving chambers of the heart, whereas the ventricles are the pumping chambers of the heart. Okay, so these guys are going to receive that blood and take it, and then it's going to get put into the ventricles, and then the ventricles are actually going to pump in order to get it to go somewhere. Okay. So they receive blood from the body. It's now in the ventricles. The ventricles are now going to pump it. So this was called our pulmonary valve. It becomes a little confusing, I know. But as long as you see it done, it's a lot easier than if you were to see the final product and have no idea what's going on. So we're going to go back behind the heart. Pulmonary valve is going to come out here, and it's going to branch off to either side. We're going to go to each lung. Okay. So you've got a branch going off this way, and you've got a branch going off this way to go to each of the lungs. Okay. So then these were our pulmonary arteries. Again, the only arteries that are blue in our system. Okay. That we're going to color blue. They're not really blue, but whatever. Anyways, so you would label this one as a left pulmonary artery versus this being a right pulmonary artery, but it's going to go out to the lungs. Okay. We are now picking up oxygen. Okay, so we have now picked up that oxygen. We can now switch to a red because we have now gotten that oxygen. We now have our oxygenated blood. So we're going to come back from the lungs. So we're going this direction now. And again, it's going to come from either lung, coming back in. And again, the receiving chambers at the top. Okay, so we're going to come into the left atrium over here with the blood coming from the pulmonary veins coming into this left atrium. Okay, again, the only other doorway we have to go through is the bicuspid or mitral valve there. Okay, so that blood's going to come through here and come into the left ventricle. This is the most important chamber of the entire heart because he is responsible for pushing blood out to the rest of the body. Okay, so our other valve located here was our our aortic valve. So the blood is going to go and it's going to get pushed through the aortic valve here, and it's going to go through the aorta. Okay, so if you've ever been on a roller coaster of any sort, there's always the crazy loops that you have in the roller coasters, and this guy's about to do that. Okay, so we're going to come kind of up this direction. He's going to kind of poke out the top of the heart like so. Okay, he's going to have 3 branches. We'll discuss these in just a second. Okay, so blood is flowing. That's a horrible arrow. Like so, going through, and then this, like I said, this guy is called the aorta, which we labeled in our structures video. So he came up and over like this, and now he's about to come this direction to go out to the rest of the body. Okay, so he made this giant loop. It's coming around. Again, blood is going to come, reviewing everything that we've learned. The blood is going to come through the inferior and superior vena cava into the right atrium. It's going to go through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. It's going to go through the pulmonary valve to the pulmonary arteries, go to the lungs, pick up oxygen, come back through the pulmonary veins to the left atrium, go through the mitral or bicuspid valve into the left ventricle. We're just going to get pumped through the aortic valve, through the aorta, and out to the rest of the body. Okay. So again, that's the blood flow through the entire heart. This side will talk to each other through this door here. Okay. So the atria and the ventricles from the right side and the atria and the ventricle from the left side are going to talk to each other and communicate, and blood is going to flow between the two of them. But blood does not flow this direction. It does not go from left to right. Okay, we'll talk about different disorders when blood flow does happen this direction, and we'll talk about congenital disorders later. But this is blood flow through the heart. So again, if this looks like a crazy mess, just watch this over again, and that'll kind of help you with it, okay?